Let's take a few minutes to look at Adobe Spark and one of its projects, which they call a page. And this is going to be a little different than my usual videos because I'm not going to focus so much on how to use the tool, but I want to just show you some of the features and the basics, and you'll see that it's intuitive enough to figure out the rest. I'm starting here at Adobe Spark, and we will log in and get started here in a minute, but first I want to show you what a page looks like. So I have one here on this tab that I made, and this is just a sample to show the features. Keep in mind first of all that what they call a page is really just a single web page that you scroll through from top to bottom, and when you do, it's going to display some text and some images. So I created this one and called it What is an Adobe Spark Page. And as I scroll through this, you'll notice at the top I put text in a couple ways. You can choose between headings and just regular text, and there are some other formats. You can show pictures in different ways. This is what they call a photo grid, but you can put just a single image in. And as I scroll down to this one, you'll notice that it slides in from the side and displays this way along with a caption. Again, here are some different ways the text could be formatted. And this is what they call a glide show. It's a series of pictures, and the text will show up as a caption here again. But notice as I scroll that it fades into the next picture. I really like this feature. You can imagine it would be a very attractive way to show a series of pictures, maybe about a field trip or a fun classroom activity that you want to show off. And then you can also embed YouTube videos. You can embed a video that you made in Adobe Spark. So I have another tutorial about how you create videos. You can embed those. And last, I just want to show that you can put buttons that will link to another site. So those are the features that you can add. Let's look at the basics of setting these up, and I'll give you a few pointers. So I am back at spark.adobe.com, and I'm going to click on Login. And of course, I'm going to choose the Google option because that makes it really easy if you or the students are already signed into your Google account, or of course if you're on Chromebooks. When you click that, it will ask you to accept some terms the first time, and then it might ask you for access to your account as well. To start a new project at Adobe Spark, no matter which one you're going to choose, you would start by clicking the plus, and then you have the three options. We're looking at pages, so I will click the plus here, and that loads the editor for the page. It's asking me for a title right away. So let's put this in and a subtitle. Now, teachers asked me right away about changing the fonts. The fonts can be changed to some extent, but that's true of every feature. It gives you a few options, but you won't have total control. And I see that as a positive because then it doesn't take so long when you use it in the classroom. So I will fill those in, and as I scroll down, notice that it has some plus signs. If I click this one, it would let me add a background image to this area here. But this is the most common plus that you'll see, and when you click that, you'll see the 6 different items that you can add to a page. Only 6, and very intuitive. I could add just a regular photo, or I could do a photo grid, and I could do that glide show. Text, the hyperlink button, and adding a video. Let's just look at text real quick as an example. And after you type something, just click on it and you'll see that it does give you some options. For example, I can change that into heading 1, and that's the style that I would get. If I don't want that, I can click heading 1 again to turn it off, and so on. The usual things you'd expect for editing text. Let's look at adding a photo. Just like all the Adobe Spark tools, these are all the ways that you can bring in a photo, including uploading one that you took. I'm going to just search for one. And we will search school. Let's say I want this school bus. Notice that after you bring it in, you still have some other options. And I'm not going to go through all of these. You can experiment with them, but I'm just going to go with the full width. And you can see that that sort of fades in as I scroll down. This is actually still my editor. If you really want to see how it would look to someone on the web, you'll want to click the preview. Now that I have some text and a picture in here, it's a good time to bring up themes. don't try to choose a theme right away, because you're going to want to have some of your content in there before you try to decide between different themes. But now that we have at least a little bit, I'm going to click Themes, and you can see there are several here. Let's say I switch this to Whimsy, and what happens is it changes the font styles, it adds different embellishments, and sometimes the elements will come in different ways. They might fade in different ways, and so on. Again, you'll be able to change the general look, but it takes over the details of what main text looks like, subtitles, and so on. Let's look at the glide show, since it's one of my favorites. For the glide show, you'll want to have multiple pictures, so I'm just going to choose 3 of these real quick. You can see over here when you add these in, and I'm still in the glide show editor, that's why it's asking me if I want to save or cancel this. If you click on these, really the main choice would be the order that you're going to put these in. If this is the order that I want, I then can save it, and then back here on the page editor it looks more like the actual glide show. Notice that I have these captions scrolling through, and these will not show up on the actual page if I don't put any text in here right now. But let's say I do. Okay, that makes a caption that will scroll up as the user goes through the page. And also you can move this somewhat from side to side. You can move it. I noticed too that on the title at the top you can move this to the side, or of course in the center where it was. Let's look at sharing though. There's one difference here compared to the other tools. Normally on the other tools in Adobe Spark, I said don't worry about this on the right, just download it. Well, you notice there's no download for an Adobe Spark page because it is a web page. So it is going to show up online. And because of that, students should not put their first and last name on here. Really, they don't need to fill much of this out. You might want to choose a category. I'll pick education. And then when you say create link, it will give you a link. The students could copy this, or if you made the page, you could copy it, and then you can post that wherever you need to, whether it's in Google Classroom, on a blog, website, whatever. Then people can see the page that you made.